Are we going live now? Hare Krishna, everyone. Let's do the prayers together. Are we going live now? And after that, so hopefully everyone could see. We have done all the prayers together, one session just on the Mangala Charan, if in case you would like to catch up. But for now, you could just follow. We're just going to read the top bit in Sanskrit. चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथं तं साधुवेतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा श्री विष्णुवितंश्च हे कृष्ण सिन्धु दीनबन्धुजगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पातरुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरुदेव महाराज की जय। जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। Hare Krishna, everyone. So let's go back on our presentations. I hope everyone doing well. I hope so. So if you remember, this is the presentation we've been doing. This is on Gita Mahatmya. So we are going to read Gita. What's the purpose? Why we should read Gita? Now these verses, they are from Padma Purana. So these are the few things we are going to cover. The very first thing is Gita Mahatmya, the glories of Bhagavad Gita. This is, as we discussed last time, coming from Padma Purana, where Lord Shiva was in meditation. Then Mother Parvati asked the question that I would like to know, could you please help me to understand what's the essence of all the Vedic literature? And we have another slide right at the end of this presentation, which we have seen it before. So if you've been there with us for long, you would have seen that initially, right at the beginning, we had only one Veda. Then that Veda was split into 4. Then we had Upanishads. Then we have Bhagavatam or Puranas. In all the Puranas, in the major 18 Puranas, the best one is Bhagavad Puran, what we call Bhagavatam, but essence of all been in the story form given in Mahabharata and Ramayana. But in Mahabharata, we have Bhagavad Gita, and that's the essence of all the Vedic literature. There, it's only 700 verses compared to roughly 400,000 verses in all the Vedic scriptures, if you put together. 400,000 verses or 700 verses. Of course, in 700 verses, we get the gist of it, we get the essence of it. Like all those questions which Arjuna needed, he asked from Krishna, and all the knowledge what Krishna wanted to impart on Arjuna, he did it in those 700 verses. But if in case we would like to get more, but many Puranas, but Bhagavatam has a lot and lot of stories. A lot of stories we have already discussed. In between, we always discuss stories because we all are storytellers. And that's how Puranas, what we call Puranas, what does it stand for? It's Itihasas. What's Itihasas? History. So Purana, something which is old, Itihasas, which is history. So the old history written in the form of stories, it's what we call Puranas. Like the one I've just very briefly narrated, that Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva, that was the Vedic essence. And then he said, listen to me, I'm going to tell you Bhagavad Gita, but then later he narrated the whole Bhagavatam to Mother Parvati as well. And then straight from Padma Purana, we said, okay, we will go along and we will read it. So there are 6 verses of what we say Gita Mahatmya, the glories, the essence, the significance of Gita. This is the first one which we had done, Gita Shastram Idam Punyam. So this is Sanskrit. If you could read Sanskrit, great. Well, this is Sanskrit written in English, right? It's not the Sanskrit. If some of you have seen Hindi, then you were able to recognize Sanskrit very close, because what we call Devanagari script, that's very close, Hindi and Sanskrit. If you can read it, then it's Sanskrit is one of those. So when I was in Middle East for many years, in Middle East people were Arabic, but there were many people who were from other countries where they could read Urdu. Now Hindi and Urdu is such a nice thing that Hindi and Urdu, even though when you write them, they are in different scripts. But when you speak, you can understand each other. And Arabic is very similar to Urdu. So those people who could read Urdu, they can read Arabic, even though they won't understand the meaning what they're reading. Sometimes it happens with us in English or any language, but in English, there are many words we read, or sometimes some of the phrases we read, some of the idioms we read, and we say, don't know what that means. I've just read it. I know it's English, but I don't know what that means. Something similar when people who could read Urdu, who could understand Urdu, they can read Arabic script, but they cannot understand what that means. Exactly the same scenario we have between Hindi and Sanskrit. If you can read Hindi, you can read Sanskrit. Maybe the pronunciation is here or there, but you can read it. However, you might not be able to understand. But for all those who could read English, Sanskrit is written in English. For example, Gita, Gita. Gita is in Hindi, but it's written in English. So if you could read that, that's great. But if you can't, then the translation in English is given. But we should always practice reading it. Hare Krishna. Okay, I thought somebody was saying something. It's great. Feel free to interrupt me anytime. Otherwise, I will be speaking all the time, which could be very boring. Not only for you, for me as well. And Arden was sitting here. He has just gone. I'm sure he will come back. So what he says, the very first verse, one who with a regulated mind, and I think we did discuss this, that for example, if you think about it, you all are students. Well, we all are students, including myself as well. I'm learning a lot. If we are a student, what we do, we learn And when we learn, our mind should be there. Otherwise, we might be reading a book, our mind is not there. We are not going to grasp what it's saying. So it says the mind should be regulated, right? It should be a regulated mind. And now I'm looking for some of the participants who are not here. And maybe we need to change the timing to 5. This is what we usually do. Those who are new, that in winter, so winter just started because BST has changed to GMT. Usually we go back to 5 p.m. And when the summer, at the end of March, when we go back to BST, then we move from 5 to 6 p.m. because otherwise 6 p.m. is too dark and too late for some. And especially we have a couple of devotees from America, and I'm thinking if it's too late or too early for them now. But the mother hasn't said anything, so I might touch base. But that could be the reason we are missing some of the regulars. So I'm glad Krishna Chaitanya is there, and Ishan is there. So it's always good to have it. And of course, Shivani is there, even though I can't see her now. But and Arun is here. Yeah, come along. So he always there with me, which is good. We need to have a regulated mind, whatever we do. Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the same thing to Arjun. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. But Krishna says that a lot of people give so many things for the temple, which we should. But a lot of time we just make things of gold, silver, and maybe great, big, magnificent temples. But Krishna says that patram pushpam phalam toyam. Like even if somebody will give me a leaf, just a bit of water, fruit, I will accept all those things. But what's the requirement along with it? Regulated mind, devotion. Give me with devotion and love. That's what Krishna says. So what we give is one thing, but how we give, that's the second. Right? Hare Krishna. So Arun is back. So one who with, you would like to read that, please?
One who with a regulated mind recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the resident of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation.
Haribo, thank you so very much. There's a word here, Vaikuntha. Anyone knows the meaning of this word? Vaikuntha. It's in green today. Vaikuntha. Have you heard this word before? Hari? Arun is thinking. Anyone else would like to give a guess? Anyone? Give any guess. Vaikuntha. Because what Krishna is saying here, the one who has regulated mind, so that's one thing, recites with devotion, that's other. This Bhagavad Gita is scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue. So we are going to be very virtuous, right? We will become the noble men, the best people, best citizens, the global citizens. Will attain, not only that, but that person will also attain a holy abode. So it's a spiritual place, such as Vaikuntha, or what that Vaikuntha is. All right, let me split that into two. Kuntha is misery. So this Kuntha means misery in Sanskrit. Where is going to make it opposite. So Vaikuntha is a place which is where all the miseries are absent. There is no misery, well, it says actually, no fear, no lamentation. There is all peace, all happiness. As Krishna says, Krishna is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Eternal, conscious bliss. So we say, if you have money, but you don't know that you have money, then what that money is going to do for you. And it happened. In real life, it happened. Grandfather died, leaving a lot of money from the grandson. But father never told grandson because grandson was very young, right? And the grandson always thought he's poor. But at a particular age, father said, here we go, all this money belongs to you, your grandfather left it for you. So Sat Chit, not only that you are happy, but you should be aware of it, that you are happy, right? And it's the happiness is not temporary. When we eat ice cream, we eat chocolate, we go and watch movies, or we go out and play, we are very happy. But that's what we call temporary happiness. And that's what one of the main difference between material world and spiritual. Material is where the happiness depends on the external things. Spiritual, where the happiness comes from within, which means we are independent. Our happiness could come anytime. And like what Buddha says, I'm awake. Once we reach to that level, when we are enlightened, then we don't need to depend on anything, whether COVID is there or not. Whether, so in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are three different types of miseries. And we have discussed this before. One of the misery comes from our body or our mind. Our body is sick, our mind is stressful. That's one level. The second is we are happy, but people around us, they are not happy. Maybe somebody in the family, maybe a friend of yours, not happy. Because of them, you are unhappy. So in your family, somebody else got COVID, even though your body and mind okay, but because their body and mind got disturbed, you got disturbed. So people around you in association. And the third one, when you are okay, your family is okay, your neighbors are okay, but what happened? We got a global pandemic, like hurricane, what happens in America a lot of time, earthquakes, or COVID in this case. So these three miseries, they will not affect us if you have reached to that level. Why? Because all these are external things, all these are material things. Once we will realize that we are spiritual, and this happens slowly. So Sat Chit Ananda, eternal. So the happiness, Sat Chit Ananda, Ananda is bliss, happiness, and Sat is eternal. You got it, it will never go back. And Krishna has said it, someone who reached to that level comes to my abode and never falls down. Imagine this. People, students like yourself, work hard to get a great grades in your A levels, go to the best university in the world, and I'm sure all of you will. And then you will get the best job, or you might become entrepreneurs. You will start great business. What are you going to get out of it? Money. What will you do with that money? You will buy. What will you buy? All the material things. Big house, fast cars, fancy, expensive clothes, and you will fill your house with all those things. What happens with experience? After a while, all these things, they lose their charm. They don't give us happiness anymore. Right? Why? Because all these things are material. But still, at the same time, you might see maybe your grandfather who just sit at the in wherever place could be. It could be a holy place, it could be the house, because a lot of times people make their house very holy, right? Because they could not travel to the temple. And they are blissful. Even though if their houses are small, they don't drive the fastest car on the planet, their clothes are not expensive. But you will meet them, they are always happy. And you're thinking, well, tell you what. So yesterday, from London Central, some of our friends came, and they work hard. They work in the fine. They are what we could call investment bankers. So they are the people who earn a lot of money. They start their job early, and they keep working till late. Saturday they were working for one of them. So it was a couple. So one of them, the husband, was working on Saturdays. Wow. So you get the money, but you don't get the time to enjoy it. And by the time you reach to a point, so that's another thing I was discussing with Aryan, that the way it says, the legend said that there are three things, if you think about, if you need money, you need time, and you need the health to enjoy. And the way this material world is, we never get those three things. when we are students, we have the time, if you think about a lot of time. We have the health, but we don't have. So maybe the fathers will have headache or maybe back pain. But you kids, you could run along all day long. You're full of health, right? And you have the time as well. But you don't have money. You are dependent on your parents for your money, right? And then maybe one day when you will get the best job in the world or best businesses in the world, you will have a lot of money. But to get that money, you have to invest your time. So even though you will have the health because you're in between, like let's say in my age, right? I'm 40. So at the age of 40, you have the health, you have the money, but you don't have the time. But then maybe a couple of years later or to a couple of decades later in 60s, you will retire. And then you will have money because you've been working hard, you have invested and you have gathered, you have made everything. You've got a lot of money to enjoy and you have a lot of time as well because you have retired. But guess what? Your health is gone, right? You will hardly find people who are 60, 65 or retired people and they are full of health. They always have something. Always. I got a few of those retired friends. And unfortunately, almost everyone got something. But this is life. This is what material world is. And that's the reason in our scriptures, this world has been defined as dukh alya. So dukh alya is sorrow, alya is a place. So this place is full of miseries. And that's the reason it says somebody who reads Bhagavad Gita will get not only virtue, but also reach to a place where there is going to be no miseries, no fear, no lamentation. And that's the very first thing. If you think about it, every living being on this planet has been working only for the happiness. If you get the money and you don't get a happiness, that money is not going to be very useful. It's like you got a TV, but it doesn't work. You got the internet, but it doesn't work. What good that gonna do for you? You got a flight, but it doesn't fly. Yeah, it happens. Somebody said recently, oh, I booked the holidays, but because of COVID, I could not go. And I said, did you enjoy that holiday? I said, oh, it never happened. I said, well, but you booked it. So there is a difference. If we have the money, if we have the time, if we have the health, but if we cannot utilize those things, then it's not going to be helpful. So that's why it says that if you want to go to the Vaikuntha, we need to understand the essence of it. Is this the mind shift? And I might have shared this story with you. And as I said, we always do stories, full of stories. The stories are awesome because we love stories, don't we? So let's do the second one, and maybe after that we will do another story. Anyone got any questions, any comments, or anything? Ari, what do you think about this verse? Do you think it's right that if you read Bhagavad Gita, you have been reading for a while now, do you think you will be happy?
Well, it doesn't give happiness directly,
Mm-hmm.
but the steps tell you how to get happiness. So it's like if you have a medicine and if there's a doctor, the doctor can tell you how to get happy while using the medicine.
Right.
So Bhagavad Gita is like that doctor giving you the medicine.
Very good.
But Bhagavad Gita is not exactly the medicine itself. It provides the medicine.
Great. Thank you. So for the benefit of those who might not able to hear him, what Aryan said, you would like to say something? Okay. So Shivani just came along. Okay. So yes, what Aryan said that from his understanding, he said that Gita, Bhagavad Gita, it might not be the medicine, but Bhagavad Gita is like the doctor. So, which in one sense is great, which means that you will get the knowledge and wisdom Doctor will give you the medicine, but it's up to you, it's up to us to take that medicine. If we will not take the medicine, then doesn't matter how great our doctor is, we are not going to get cured. We will still be diseased and we will still be miserable. That's what Bhagavad Gita does. Bhagavad Gita gives us the knowledge, gives us jnana, gives us bhakti, gives us devotion, gives us karma yoga, gives us how we should do the actions in day-to-day life. Not that we have to wait until we reach to the point like Arjun had to start Mahabharata. Not like that. Day-to-day life, we make decisions. Like Arjun had to make decisions. And using all that wisdom which Krishna gave to Arjun, hopefully we will able to make the decisions in our life. So very well said, I guess, that Bhagavad Gita is like the doctor and the knowledge is like the medicine. If we take that knowledge, medicine, implement that in our life, then yes, we will improve. Our life will improve. Great. So what does it say? Gita, let's change that. So if it's in Sanskrit, the way it goes, it's like a very poetic language. Everything is poetic, as you can say, ya, cha, ni, cha. So the way, very easy to read, if we split the words. So Gita, Dhya, yeah, I know. So Shilaya. So anyone for Sanskrit? Anyone for Sanskrit? All right, okay. Anyone for English? Yeah, okay. You want to go? Yeah, sure. So Arun would like to give it a go in Sanskrit, and I will share a link where beautifully sung by someone on YouTube. But Arun would like to give it a go. Please.
Gita Dhyan Yana Shilasya Pranayam Parasya Cha Naiva Santihi Papni Purva Janma Kritani Cha.
Thank you. Do you remember the meaning of cha? And? Okay, let's read. This is another thing when we read it. If we start, we will see some of the words will be repeating. Some of the words may be Purva Jnana. Sorry, Purva Janma. Janma is the birth, Purva is the prior. So the earlier births we had, what happened there. But we will see some of the words, repetitive words, and we will able to understand them if we are realizing, self-realized. Okay, great. So Shivani, would you like to read the English, please?
If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of Lord, the reaction of his past misdeeds will not act upon him.
Right. Thank you so very much. Now, it seems to be very simple. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely. So in the previous one, what we saw we need to read it with great respect. We need to great devotion. We need to have the regulated mind. What here says sincerely. So again, reminding it. In the previous verse, it says we will reach to the planets like Vaikuntha, no misery. We will be always happy. And very similar thing it says here that so how we will become happy? We will become happy because the past misdeeds we have done, they are not going to act upon that. What does that mean?
Like it will not come to him. Like he did something bad.
Mm-hmm.
So instead he's reading Bhagavad Gita and like explaining why and knowing now that he shouldn't have done this misdeed. And then like now Krishna knows that he's done it very sincerely, dearly, and on his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking it as a joke. That's why he said that, okay, you won't have to do your misdeeds because you learn your lesson.
Very nice. Okay, great. Thank you. So the way it goes, in chapter 3 Bhagavad Gita, we will read Karma Yoga. Now, karma is the action. So the actions we do. Karma literal meaning is action. So the karmas, all the actions we do, they are the seeds of the future. So currently, the way we live the life is going to determine how our future will be. And it's very evident the way we do well in our schools. So, okay, Hare Krishna, Divesh and Devika has joined as well. Great. So I was just about to say, Shubham, Ishan, Aryan, you guys are secondary students. So you have worked hard in primary to get into good, great secondary schools, right? So how well you did in your primary for your exams determined which or how great your secondary school will be. And now in your secondary school, how well you will do, obviously your GCSE will come, or O level, then your A levels will come. Based on how well you do in your O and A levels, it will determine how great your university will be. And then how good your university, whether you're going to go to the world class universities like Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, then you will know if somebody belongs to those, and obviously which course and all you do, whether the future of that student is going to be bright, right? You don't really have to wait. Of course, if there are 30 students working in the same university, in the same course, there will be a difference in all of them. But somebody who is from these A class universities compared to someone who might not be fortunate enough or didn't work hard enough to be in those universities, you could say straight away there will be a great difference between those. So what was the reason really? The reason was the deeds. The reason was the hard work. So this is why it says, if you do good, the good will come back. If you do bad, bad will come back. And based on this, when we did the one of the series before, some of you will remember the journey of self-discovery. Journey of self-discovery. So again, if in case you were not aware or you have not seen those, we did the live sessions and they are there available on the YouTube. We did many sessions, but there were series of 6 topics. And one of the topic was, or one of the subtopic or one of the big topic was that why good things happen to bad people or why bad people happens to good people. And the simple answer is that sometimes it takes time for the fruits of our previous karma to come back, right? For example, in UK, we give exams at the end of year 5, we give the grammar school results, but it will take maybe 9 or 10 months before we will know which school, which grammar school we're going to go for. And then we have to wait for another 6 months before that grammar school start. Now you might see, oh, in year 6, this student didn't study at all. How come in year 7 he's going to such a great school? Because we didn't see that in year 5 he worked very hard. Or year 4, year 5, this student worked very hard to clear the exam, which happened either at the end of year 5 or in the beginning of year 6. Once he has given the exam or she has given the exam, then the student really enjoyed his life in year 6 and didn't study at all. Not that I'm suggesting we should do it, but if that's the case, then only those who have seen this student year 6 part of the life, we will say, well, how come this student can get it? I know this student, he didn't study at all. But the fruits of his past karmas coming back maybe after a year or so. So that's the reason we don't know. And this is the reason we can understand sometimes we will see, oh, this student worked very hard, but how come he didn't pass? Maybe because in the previous years he did not. So maybe some of his fundamentals are not correct. Maybe the hard work he was supposed to put, he didn't. So there is always a reason, and we cannot blame anyone. I remember I had a friend in my house. He was just going and he hit the chair and he fell down. And he got up and he started shouting on the chair. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? That I don't know if you have done it. Sometimes we do. We say, you stupid chair. How come you were there in the middle of my path? I was supposed to go, didn't you know? And I was laughing. And I thought, well, I'm so sorry. And he said, no, it's okay. I said, no, I'm not sorry for you. I'm sorry for the chair. Look at the chair, poor chair. Chair was there. You walked into the chair, right? Chair should complain. Chair should blame you. Chair didn't do anything wrong. Chair was just there, and it could be anything. The point is that we can't blame anyone else, right? We get whatever we have. So the way it says, you sow and you reap, right? So if you will, at the time of putting the seeds, if you put the seed for lemon, the lemon tree will come out and it will give lemon. Now when tree is big and you will say, lemon tree, give me mangoes because lemon is bitter, nothing is going to happen. Too late. And that's the reason Krishna says here that by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of the past misdeeds, misrepresents, so deeds, actions, misrepresents wrong, bad karma. And we will see in chapter 3 what different kind of bad karmas could be, what we should not do. If we, because it says in the previous one, we will become virtuous. If we will become virtuous, for example, we should never lie to our parents. If we have siblings, we should always be kind, like Devesh and Devika, right? Like Shubham is very kind to his younger sister, Shakti. I can't say for Arun and Shivani, always keep fighting. But well, that's part of the growing up, I guess. But that's part of the virtue we develop when we read Bhagavad Gita, we understand, we absorb the knowledge in it. And this is why it says that when we read Bhagavad Gita, when we understand Bhagavad Gita, we get to the bottom of it, right? All the knowledge. So for the benefit of Hare Krishna, Tanmay has joined as well. For the benefit of those who have joined later, before we start, so we are going to start Bhagavad Gita again. Before we'll start Bhagavad Gita, we are doing Gita Mahatmya, the glories of Gita, the significance of reading Gita, why actually we should read Gita. There are 6 verses and we have just completed the second one. And now we are moving to the third one. And anyone would like to give it a go in Sanskrit? At the end, as I was saying, I will give you maybe Hare Krishna. All right. Well, thank you, Tanmay. 1 second here. Let me give you the. I said I will give you. Okay, I have to find it. I will give you the YouTube clip or in Gita Mahatmya reading it. But go for it, Tanmay, please.
Maline Mukana Pumsam Jala Snanam Dine Dine Sakrit Gita Mrita Snanam Sam Samtaramala Nashanam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gita mrita snanam samsara malanashanam.
Hare Krishna. Hari Priya Mataji is there with me. So thank you to her. Thank you, Tanmay. Great attempt. Great attempt. There is always a meter, and there are traditionally 7 main meters how we read. And you had a great meter there when you read it. And this is what it is. When we practice, even though we are not great, but until unless we practice, we won't learn like anything else. Sports, studies, we learn and we get better. Thank you so much, Tanmay, for that. Now, translation. Anyone would like to read the translation, please? This is in English, much easier, I guess. Anyone? At this point, we count. Tick, tick, 1. Tick, tick, 2, tick, tick, 3. And after that,
I'll do it.
Ishan, go for it, please.
One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ishan. Yes, as it says, we get dirty and we clean ourselves, but that's only the body. Our consciousness is always there. Consciousness. This is what it says. This is obviously the analogy. One takes a bath even once in sacred Ganges. So sacred Ganges, it says in Hindi what we say Ganga, the river, the holy river in India. If we take bath there, then that's it. That will eradicate all the sins we have done. But what we are saying, sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, what does that really mean? If we understand the meaning and if we able to implement the meaning, the wisdom of Vedic culture in our life, if we can understand and implement, then for him, the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. This is vanquished. It will just kind of disappear. Now, the dirt will disappear. The material world will be there, but the dirt will disappear. Now, always remember, we are no the advocates of someone who say we need to leave the world and go on top of the mountain or in the caves. No, our body is the vehicle. It's like the world is there, like a river, like a big ocean, and we need the world because the body is like a boat, and we are, who are we? We are the spirit soul within the body. So we are there in the body, like we are there in the boat. And boat, if boat needs to go from one place to another place, right? If we need to cross this ocean, then we need the water. If the water is not there, if the material world is not there, then the boat, this body will not able to live. The body will not move. The boat will not move from one shore to another shore or the other shore if you just want to go to one shore, right? In that case, we need the material world. We are not going to leave it. But one very important thing is that the water surrounding us should not come in the boat. Otherwise, the boat will capsize. It will just sink, right? Always remember that. So we will go and we will meet everyone. We will meet people who smoke. We meet people who drink. We meet people who do corruption, cheating, and everything, because there is no option for us. Well, these days we are working from home, so it's much better. Otherwise, when we go to the office, we meet all sort of people, right? When we go to the shopping, we meet all sort of people. People swear, people fight, but all that dirt should not come into the boat. That water should not come into the boat. Similarly, we should not get that. And how will that happen? It says, when we read Bhagavad Gita, when we remind ourselves, and this is a constant process, right? If you think, and again, it's a gradual process. It's not like today you are going to read it and tomorrow you will say, I'm ready for the battle. No. If you think about the soldier is going to practice once, twice, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 weeks, or 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. How many years before the soldier is ready to go there in the battle to fight, right? Exactly the same what we are doing. We are students, we are learning in the schools, because one day we are going to implement that knowledge, all that knowledge we've been learning, to change the world. I have no doubt that if not all, some of you going to go out and change the world for better tomorrow. Of course, we all are proud of you right now. I'm sure you will make us proud even tomorrow, right? The future, which is awaiting for you guys. But it's going to be a gradual process where we are now to where we would like to be or where we will be, right? Similar thing happening here. The way we clean. So we get dirty, we clean ourselves every day. Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge, the wisdom, we read it again and again and again, because our life changes, right? We do the maths. So sometimes Aryan and Shivani, they sit together and Shivani says, well, why Bhaiya, why he's doing the maths, which is very similar to the maths I do. And Shivani is in year 4, Aryan is in year 8. But some of the fundamentals are same. Then Aryan will say, well, I'm doing this, but I'm also going to do that. This is just a part of it. So when you do a big equation, you might be doing addition or multiplication as a part of it. And Shivani has just seen that part, right? Well, that's what it is. What we have been doing before, that's going to lay down the foundation of what we're going to do it next. When we read Bhagavad Gita, we have the chapter 1, and then chapter 2, chapter 3, and we are going to build the foundation on top of the previous one. Right. So we need to understand. We need to understand the meaning and the wisdom in Bhagavad Gita, and that's going to take the dirt away. Right. That's how we are going to get virtuous. It's not like Krishna will just have a wand. Krishna can do it, but do we want to get, like it says, what's easy to come by, usually easy to go by. It doesn't stay for long. But what we really work hard, it stays for long. So we really would like to work hard for it. Even though I'm sure some of you would agree with me that if we just win the lottery and become millionaires, why not? What's wrong about it? Well, nothing wrong about it. But a lot of millionaires, such a way, they have lost their wealth in very short span. I forgot what was. I think it was like 78 point something. I think it was around that. So those who become millionaires just by winning the lottery or so, 78% of them, they lose it within a year or so. How and why? Because they got it very easy. But on the other hand, if you see those entrepreneurs who work hard to get it, they also have hiccups, hurdles, but gradually, slowly, persistently, diligently, they make up. And when they reach to that point, that's it. They know they have made the point in the society. Great. Let's move on to the next one. Who would like to attempt this? I'm looking towards Mataji. She's sitting here now. Yeah.
गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किं मन्ये शास्त्रविस्तरे या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखा पद्मात्मिनी श्रिता.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so very much. Some of the verses, if you will keep reciting them, some of the verses we will see, some of the words in the verses, they will repeat themselves. For example, we saw the word cha. Cha is for, and also we use cha in Sanskrit. Ca, when we see, it's for that. So Gita, Sugita, Kartavya. Now, anyone would like to read English, or shall I read English?
Could I?
Oh, great. Is it Devesh or Devika?
Devika speaking.
Can Devesh and Devika read half? They both want to do.
All right, great. Yes. So, yes, sure.
Because
Right.
Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are also absorbed to mundane activities that is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But it is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so very much. I was discussing you to right in the beginning because I know that due to the time shift, and I know in US also we got the time shift, so I'm not sure if because half an hour overlap was there, I guess. But let me know if you would like me to change it back, because I was thinking in winter usually we go back to UK time 5 p.m. But so good to have you. So think about it. Let me know what time suits you and of course everyone else. If we need to change it, I'm quite happy to change to accommodate everyone. But great, good to hear from you always.
5 p.m.
5
the-
p.m. Sorry, 5 p.m. would work better for you?
for UK time.
For UK time, 5 p.m. will work better for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So if everyone else would let me know, not now, but maybe on the group, or maybe let me know, or your parents will let me know. If 5 p.m. what we usually do during winters.
In UK right now.
UK right now is going to be 7. So in 4 minutes it's going to be 7. So currently we are doing 6 to 7 like we usually do in summer. But winters just started here, I guess in States as well. But no worries, think about it and let me know. Great. So 4 minutes left. We got text 4 here. And something great in this was, it says, because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a big word. It's basically God, Krishna, but we will see it again and again. And at some point I will explain why. Well, so Bhagavad Gita being spoken by Krishna, one need not read any other Vedic literature. So Padma Purana, so remember this is coming from Padma Purana. Padma Purana written by Ved Vyasa, who compiled all the Vedic literature. And he is saying it. He is saying it once, one who will read Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't have to, there is no need to read anything else, right? So we should understand, if one author has written 10 books, and at one point he has said in one book that if you read this book, you don't really need to read the rest of my 9 books. You understand? Okay, that's great. Of course, if you have already read it, then you have reached to the point now. But if somebody new will come, and you can easily guide that person, that see, if you really want to read it, read this book, because the author of the book you are about to read has said that if you read this book, then you don't need to read anything. One need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively, as we have said it in the beginning, attentively, with regulated mind, not only Bhagavad Gita, but being the student, anything, the student of primary, secondary, or anything we do in our life, we need to be very conscious, very aware. Even if we do sports, I know kids like Ishan and even Shubham, I guess, but Tanmay also, you guys are great sports boy. I was about to say sportsman. And I know you love playing, which is great. We all should, right? At that time, you don't really need to worry about studies. Well, of course, if I hope you are not taking time out of study to play, then you do need to worry about studies. But when it's time to play, when you are there for the matches or any other sports, then full focus should be on your studies. And that's, you will see again and again and again in our Vedic scriptures, Vedic culture, it says that we need to have a regulated mind. Like whatever we're doing, we do it with focus. Doesn't really matter what it is. And now the time has run out. But next time, I will tell you a story from Buddhism. From Buddhism, I will tell you a story where a monk said one thing to his disciple, and he wrote the whole book on it. And what he said, I will tell you, but the whole pastime I will explain next time. What the teacher said to the disciple, that even if you're going to sweep the floor, then sweep it nicely. Then never mind study. Even if you're going to clean your room, and we all do, then let's do that attentively, with full focus. Like there is nothing else important in our life. The most important thing in our life is cleaning our room, cleaning our house, cleaning ourselves. The body is important, but of course the consciousness, the soul within is even more important. Hare Krishna. With that, we have reached to the point where we stop. And let me know, and I will also send a message on WhatsApp group. or feel free. I guess you all or your parents have my number. If in case we would like to change it to 5 p.m., I will send a message and I will see how many kids would like to. I know maybe Adi had a chess, he could not join. Some of the kids, they usually they always have something else to go on between 5 and 6 and 6 to 7. But we will see. Whatever suits majority, we will do. Great. Thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to have you back again next Sunday, and I will let you know 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Until then, take very good care of yourself. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Babaji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shan. Hare Krishna Tanmay. Hare Krishna Shubham. All the blessings for you. Take good care of yourself. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev Maharaj ki jai. Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Ram.